It's a little cold in the forest today. Yeah, this evening is beautiful though. So today I just want to speak a little bit about vulnerability. And I'd like to thank some of my students because they give me an immense amount of material to talk about in my videos. You know, there's a lot of things that go on in everybody's lives, you know. And ultimately, spirituality isn't about micromanaging the life or changing the life so much as changing the internal experience, okay? Now, changing wouldn't be the right word. It's more about allowing the unfurling of what is already there, okay? So let's get specific, because I know there's some satsang people out there that be like, oh, wait a second, it's not changing, you know? It's more about the allowing, you know? Like I said, I speak different languages to different people at different times because there is no right language. There is the language that is truth, and the truth is always going to be based on what a person is capable of interpreting at the time. So that's why many masters have come before the other masters, the great ones, and their words are always misinterpreted because they may be speaking to one person at the time that is only capable of understanding a certain way of speaking, and then another person comes along and reads that and takes it literally, and then there's a misunderstanding. So that's kind of how this stuff works. So as I said on Google Plus to someone just today, you know, it's not about what the master says. It's not about what the teacher says. It's more about what they're transmitting. And the speaking is just a vehicle for this transmission to happen. Okay, so that might help you a little bit in understanding what's happening when I'm speaking. You know, there are people with much greater mastery than I, so I'm not professing to be the end-all be-all either, but there's something that I know deep inside and have embodied that I am sharing with you, okay? If I shiver a little bit, it's because it is cold in this park. But I love the light so much here that, yeah, I always have to film here anyway. So yeah, so today I want to speak about this one major thing, and that is this, okay? Vulnerability and truth are the same thing. Now, a lot of people might not understand what I mean by that. But what I mean by that is the standing naked before reality has everything to do with truth and vulnerability. Right? As the fly bounced into me there, I was vulnerable to it. You see, because when you are not vulnerable, that means you are hiding something. And when you are hiding something, or when you are shutting something aside, you are also separate. You're being separate. You're saying, I don't want to show everything. And showing everything is truth. Being what you are and not feeling the need to contort it is truth. Being fully here, that's truth. But so much of what fully here is being vulnerable. Because fully here means you're showing everything. It means you're not hiding anything. It means that I am all the way here, right? I am having a full relationship with this moment. I'm not hiding some part of me because there's a discomfort that I'm avoiding in that interaction, okay? So vulnerability is nothing more than you being all that you are in this moment. Right? And it's very important for this to happen when you are before a teacher, if you wish to receive the full transmission of what the teacher is offering. Okay? I have worked with people where they're partway there just gathering information here, but there's a whole other secret life that they're living and they're keeping it separate from me. They don't want to expose that part. But that's like saying, I want to bring a sick person to the hospital, but I'm going to hide the sick person from you because I don't want them to get the medicine. Because they have to show their wounds in order for the medicine to be administered, right? So what helps with this process is when you realize that you have to stop judging yourself. stop judging, you know, the supposed flaws that you may have, or supposed problems that, oh, they're the worst problems ever. Nobody else has ever made mistakes like I have. You know, you have to discard all that judgment and just be here. You have to show up for here. So vulnerability and truth are the same thing. And when you are fully in your vulnerability and fully in your truth, then enlightenment is possible. That's when awakening is possible. That's when the divine shows up for you. Because you're not saying, I want to be separate anymore. You're not saying, okay, I'm going to hide part of myself from the infinite or from God or whatever word you want to use, right? That's actually how unconditionally loving reality is. It says, if you wish to be separate, we'll allow it. We're not going to force you to be in a relationship with us, right? So when you look at it that way, it's quite amazing, this reality that we have. It's so unconditionally loving that it's okay with you in your ignorance, and it's okay with you being in pain, and it's okay with you propitiating it. It's not saying that you have to stop that, you know? See, a vulnerability, that is a very powerful path. If you practice the path of vulnerability, then vulnerability will automatically lead to expansion of who you are, the realization of who you are. So expansion of the ego, or realization of your own inherent expansiveness. Because you're not taking the ego so seriously, right? If you're exposing the ego, then you're not taking it seriously, and you're saying, hey, it's just the ego anyway. It's not me. It's not who I am. And automatically a mystical process happens where freedom is the result. See, anything you receive takes a certain amount of vulnerability, doesn't it? Trust would be another word. When you eat food, you have to trust that it's not poisonous. You have to be vulnerable to the fact that it is going in and doing whatever it's going to do. When you take a breath of air, you have to be vulnerable to the air. You have to trust that it's not going to poison you. So it is also the same with the divine. You have to be vulnerable. You have to fully show up and trust that everything is okay by doing so. I hope this helps, and thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.